Good morning, everyone. And if you are joining from Europe or APAC, good evening. I'm Prithvi Mathur. I lead the strategy planning and execution of grassroots developer programs here at Arm. And you may have seen a few updates from me over the past few months. First, a big congratulations to everyone who participated in the first ever ARM AI Developer Challenge. This challenge was all about building innovative AI projects that run locally on ARM powered devices, mobile or edge, delivering real world usefulness with efficient on device inference. We wanted to highlight what's possible when you combine great developer ideas with performance per watt and privacy first offline capable experiences. The challenge ran from October 2025 through January 2026 with 1,500 plus registrations. It was amazing to see the community show up and build in so many different ways. And from all of those submissions, we selected six winners from around the world. I'm also joined today by Arm Developer Evangelists, Evan, Gabe, and Michael, who played a key role in supporting participants, reviewing projects, and selecting the winners. They'll be leading the conversation with the winning teams today. With that, Evan, over to you.
Thank you so much. And thank you, everybody who's watching. And most importantly, thank you to everyone who submitted a project to this challenge. Whether you are part of this top six winner circle or not, we went through every single submission. I think it was over 140 different submissions to go through. And I promise you, we looked at every single one. And I am so grateful for all of the work and effort and all of the cool, amazing projects. And I'm also really, really excited about today because we have picked six projects that we thought were extra compelling, interesting, that met our criteria. And so we have selected them as the winners. And now we can share them all with you and talk about how cool and neat and interesting they are. Michael, Gabe, you ready to get started?
I am, yeah. I just want to say I was really blown away by the variety of projects that we got to. We kind of set this AI on ARM devices theme, and we got, iOS stuff, we've got Android stuff, we've got Windows and Apple desktop things, we've got Raspberry Pis, just a huge variety and spectrum of hardware support from these submissions. So well done, everybody who participated.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. All right. With that, let's talk about our first place winner, which is Chucket. Valrun, why don't you come join us on the stage?
Hello, can you hear me? Everything
yeah.
good?
Fine.
Yeah.
Welcome.
Yeah. First,
Well,
thanks for hosting this competition. This was actually not the plan to join this competition. I was actually experimenting on my own on how I can use AI more tastefully into my projects. And my teammate was the one who was like, "Hey, there's this hackathon. You should just join it." So yeah, here we are. I'm going to share my screen, and then we are going to go through some of the reasonings behind what we did certain things and so on, right? So welcome to Chucket. I'm Varun, and I'm just going to take you through all of these things now. Chucket is essentially a bookmark organizer that sorts itself. I use my phone a lot, and I use a lot of other devices a lot, and I save a lot of things in different apps. I just want them in one place, but I'm lazy to sort them myself. The problem we were trying to essentially fix is that it's very easy to save things, but organizing all of those things is very difficult. So we are like, okay, what can we do for that? That's not going to be very expensive, because running AI is expensive, especially if you're using APIs and stuff. So I wanted to try to do something on device. So what Chucket does, quite simple. It essentially sorts your data in your baskets for you. You don't need to do anything. You just throw it inside and you're done. And who is it for? Basically anyone who spends time browsing anything and saves stuff on the internet. The key features kind of thing is that you can still have manual control of how you want to sort your things. And because we're using vector databases and things like that. We are able to have quite nice like search options and things like that. And lastly, of course, the main focus is you just share more and sort less. Now I'm going to go to the tech stuff, and I think this is where more of the story lies, right? I started my career as a Flutter developer initially. So I was like, okay, let's try doing this with Flutter. Bad idea, because Flutter does not have very good support for packages, especially for the most upcoming AI stuff. And we thought, oh my God, maybe we chose the wrong thing, but we were too deep in. Luckily, Rust came to fix the day, and we were able to kind of have Flutter and Rust work together to make this mobile application. The next part was actually using a vector database. Initially, I was thinking, okay, what if I use LLMs to be like, okay, any item that comes in, it essentially sees the baskets that are available, and in like plain English is going to be like, okay, this thing should maybe be in this basket. But I was like, okay, how can we do that? But before we get to the LLM part, let's try to do it in some other way. So we were like, okay, maybe we can do vector embeddings and match things to the data sets via vectors instead. So we ended up going with object box for like a local storage on the device, and also it provides amazing features. And this was the easiest part of the entire project. Now, in terms of the AI models and things, I wasn't really very knowledgeable about these things, especially like what different models were for, and I've never worked with embedding models before in my life. So this was a welcome thing to learn. It really opened up my eyes to a lot of different things that are going on in the AI world apart from LLMs, which is pretty cool to see. And like Hugging Face, oh my God, thank you so much. But yeah, we ended up using Onyx models to generate the embeddings for text and image. And at the last moment, 2 days before the submission, we were like, okay, the accuracy is really not good. So how can we improve it, especially for images? That's why we were able to just simply plug in Google MLKit, OCR, image labeling, and some other stuff to just be like, okay, let's make the images a bit better, especially when it's categorizing things for you. And the Onyx models we ended up using were Nomic Embed Text 1.1, 1.5, and same for the vision. Actually, the reason for using this was something like, okay, I come from a background of trying to make sure actually users want to use this app. So I didn't really want to make an app that's 3 gigabytes and no one is going to download that on their phone just for a bookmark app. So we wanted to try to keep the size as minimal as possible while trying to squeeze out the performance that we need to. So I think by the end of it, we were able to keep the entire app less than 500 MB, which I would say is still quite a bit for a bookmark sorting app kind of thing, but this is where we got at. And I think I'm pretty happy with like the size we were able to get it at and what feature sets we have inside it. Yeah, this is just something I was like, okay, a lot of new things learned. I think looking back at this hackathon, I think it's one of my most complex projects in just terms of like, okay, the features aren't really the most complex. It's everything around it that's complex, which was very interesting to actually work on. And now I'm just going to quickly take you guys through a simple flow of how this entire thing is working. So first things is you're creating your baskets. This is essentially your categories, right? And you give some context to the categories and just creating some different categories. Now you are going, doing your browsing and things like that. It's just a video that's pre-recorded, but I'm just like talking on top of it. One of the big features actually, or rather one of the things we wanted to work on is, we didn't want to disrupt the flow of what the user is doing. So when you share it to Chucket, you don't open the Chucket app, you are not doing anything else. You can continue whatever you're doing. So there's no action you need to take on top of just sharing it. So I'm just sharing some more things. you can also share links, images. I wanted to do audio, but yeah, not enough time for audio, sadly.
All good. Don't worry about that. I just want to add too, with your project, I really appreciate the thought that you put into this as like a commercial product, thinking about the file size being reduced, the polish level, and the way that I know all three judges, when we reviewed this, we all said, this is an app that I could see living on an app store that I might download and use.
Thank you so much.
Solving a problem. So
yeah, especially myself. I know I actually do this method of research where I'll just save screenshots over and over again. Then later I have to manually search through my Photos app. So I would find something like this very useful.
So some exciting updates for that. But anyway, so yeah, so once you share things to the app, it'll automatically sort, like, do all the magic behind the screen, and you have your vector embeddings, everything generated. But for the user, there is no, this is AI, it's simple for them in the background. They don't need to know all the complex things that are going on. So that was the essential motivation behind Chucket. And one of the things we are thinking of doing potentially is trying to expand more into the usability of it, especially across devices. And something we are trying to figure out is how we might be able to have syncing across devices without actually storing anything in a database. So that's something I'm thinking of, how we can make it as sustainable as possible. Might not be the best business idea, but just from a product perspective, how can you make this kind of app very sustainable, especially considering AI, end up burning a lot of money. So how can you just run everything on device? And even for the sync, like, videos, whatever, audios, let's just let people do whatever they want. And also storing data is very scary. If I get breached, I'm screwed. So
totally. One of the easiest ways to reduce your risk factor from a person making the app is, hey, how can we not have servers in the first place, and dealing with that. And one of the great points of the hackathon was doing things in AI locally, sacrifice a little bit of processing power and storage space, larger app size, to be able to have these AI features in your app. So I really hope to see more development from Chucket in the future, and hopefully this turns into an awesome full-time app. You start a business off of this, huge and #1 on the App Store.
Thank you so
much for your time and submitting this. All right. Thank you.
Any questions or?
No, I think we got to move on to the next project.
Cool.
Thanks, Brian.
Thank you
very much. It was excellent. And now let's introduce Mark and Instameme. Hi, Mark.
Hi, folks.
Hey, Mark. How are you?
Good. So
Instameme.
Yeah. So Instameme, well, not all of us can solve world hunger with a hackathon project. So there is Instameme. So what Instameme looks to do is create your own meme from your own pet pictures, or you have an interesting situation and you want to use AI to automatically generate some meme text embedded into the image. Instameme allows you to do that, but it does it all on the mobile device, in this case, an iOS mobile device. So I'm going to give you a little quick demo of Instameme here, and share this. And you can kind of see what it does. So this is Kenny.
All the judges are animal owners, so seeing Instant Cat was very appealing for us.
I can see pet pictures being a primary target.
Right, and you saw right there. Yeah, you saw right there. I tapped the suggest caption button. What happened is that on the iOS system, it's doing an image classification, and it sees, hey, there's a cat there, so that scored high on the image classification. And then it passed it off from that model over to a Llama 3 model that then said, okay, based upon those inputs, what's a funny meme I could come up with? And there's an underlying system prompt that comes up with that. So let me stop sharing that. So the idea is that you do it all on the device. So if you put this in the App Store, it kind of changes the economics of it, because if you were to use like a large language model to do all this, you'd have to like upload the photo or upload the image to that LLM, and that costs tokens, and that there's privacy issues involved there, and it extends the latency of how long it takes to send it up and get it back. But by doing it all on the phone, well, now that's doing all the processing on the user's device. So now when you offer that in the App Store, you don't have to think about, well, do I absolutely have to make this like a subscription service to recoup my cost for those tokens to do all this processing? It does it right on the device. So that's what I found was interesting about doing this all locally. But also, again, it allows the user to create their own creation. You don't have to like really think about, hey, what kind of text am I going to put on this meme? It does it for you. And the Llama 3 model is powerful enough. And interestingly, like where I'm going with it is Apple's new intelligent capabilities offer LLM capabilities like packed in with the phone, which is where I think things are going to go in the future. You're going to see these vendors packing more and more AI models and capabilities onto devices that you can take advantage of. So who is it for? It's for anyone. So if you like sending funny meme pictures and you want it to be your own pets instead of using something from Jiffy or whatever, you can make your own memes and send it out. And I think that's it.
So I really loved this app because it is just fun. You know, like you said, it doesn't have to change the world. It can be just fun. And like I'll use Meme Generator in the past to, you know, upload a picture and put some caption on there. But this just streamlines it so much. I love that you have different personalities too. I did played around with some of the different captions, and I can totally see, like, if you continue to develop this app, that those personalities can get more in line with the user's specific kind of personality and suggest prompts that would be a prompt that they would actually maybe type up themselves as well.
Yeah, you can choose from chaos or warm or whatever you want, whatever personality you want to add to that meme.
Chaos describes my pets perfectly.
Yeah. And like this is all stuff you could do manually before, but now it's doing it all automatically. So it's kind of like more of a spur of the moment thing. Like you want to text your friend like this thing happened, but you don't want to like go back and edit the picture and add text and line it up and all that stuff. This is more of like a spontaneous event that you can take advantage of.
Totally. And I'm echoing what Michael said. I think having some fun with AI and being able to do something that it can integrate into your life, in that this is amusing. Like this is interesting. This is something that we thought people would actually want to use this app. You know, we all are pet owners and like taking pictures of our pets, and the idea of just having an auto caption on there, and the random element of it being an AI auto caption of itself, leading to yet more joy and reuse with whatever photos you have to take. So we really appreciate you submitting this project. We think it's really awesome, and thank you for your time sharing with us today.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. All right, next up on deck, we're going to have Adam with Dream Meridian.
Oh, sorry.
Wrong person. The other A name. There we go. Hello, Adam.
Hello, everyone. I hope you can hear me.
We can.
Yes.
My name is Adam Munawar Rahman. I'm a software engineer at IBM. I'm currently doing my master's at NYU Tandon, based in New York City. and I'm really excited to show you Dream Meridian. I'm going to go ahead and share my browser. And I hope, yep, it's visible. So what Dream Meridian is offline spatial intelligence that targets humanitarian contexts, such as refugee camps, post-disaster scenarios, low connectivity areas with poor infrastructure, and so on. And so I have a background in geospatial data when I interned at UNICEF. And one of the challenges was mapping healthcare accessibility, but that was done using cloud servers. So the idea here is what happens when we have boots on the ground? What happens when you are an employee for an NGO or a healthcare worker or a surveyor, and you need to identify routes between locations, or you need to identify resources in a particular area? So the idea here is that we can democratize the ability to interact with these geospatial interfaces by simply asking questions in plain English, and then the LLM will correctly parse the intent, route it to the correct tools, and then it'll be able to visualize and show the actual routing. And so this is running on a Raspberry Pi, which is why the query is probably taking longer than you might expect if you were to run this on, let's say, Apple Silicon. And I did try that. It took like 2 seconds. But in this context, the Raspberry Pi is a strong advantage. It's being used a lot as an edge device because of its low cost, because of the fact that it's like the size of a couple of credit cards stacked together, and especially the power consumption. So you can imagine bringing the Raspberry Pi or multiple of them into the refugee camp here in Bangladesh and being able to simply hook this up to a small portable monitor, or even potentially incorporating Whisper for voice to LLM interpretation, and then being able to identify distances between certain critical resources. So in this context, the data here is all open source. We've pre-baked all the location data while the routing is done in real time. And so not only can you ask distances and times, but you can ask for the reachability of certain resources within a given area. And of course, the answers that it'll return are only as good as the data that it's given. But the emphasis here is on, okay, live demos. The emphasis here is on being able to run this offline at critical needs. There we go. So this is an isochrone analysis. It shows the actual reachability of certain areas within 15 minutes from this camp location. So you can imagine the context where this is really critical in humanitarian needs. For example, if you were trying to navigate an elderly person or a sick person, but there's only so much they can walk to, this can help you identify the resource coverage and so on. And so the strengths of working with ARM in particular are just the massive benefits to power consumption. You could run this off a power bank. You can imagine a healthcare worker just having this, holding this in their hands, a power bank in a pocket, maybe a portable monitor in the other hand, and being able to route to places and being able to help the people on the ground, which is a big distinction from big cloud servers that are constantly crunching like QGIS or other tools, where that's great, but a lot of these people at these locations, they've been studied enough. What they really need is actionable insights when you're there. And this is a big key reason why ARM devices in particular, with their smaller size, low power consumption, are so effective.
So this is really amazing. I had a couple of friends who were involved in the disaster response to that giant tsunami they had in Indonesia years ago, and they were telling me about the problems of not having infrastructure, not having internet available, and how that really limited so many of the response activities that they could do. So I could just imagine if they had something like this at the time, what an impact that would have made. So this is just one of those world benefiting apps that you've made.
Yeah, like we were talking earlier about like, oh, does it have to be big and change the world, right? Like you're not going for this is a mass consumer of everybody, millions of people are going to use this, but there is a specific need here that can be addressed. I can easily see how a few iteration passes and polish could take something in a Raspberry device and maybe you don't even need like a very simple monitor and rather than a text input interface, you can, because you're using natural language to be able to ask these queries, you can have some kind of voice, to text type thing. You can even use AI to be able to translate this into other languages, and I can really see how this project can iterate into something that could have major impact into something that could be a small portable device or incorporate into other local offline workflows, and be really useful in a lot of situations. You just have to download the location data in advance to be fully offline, but also the notion that if you have intermittent internet connectivity, the fact that you can get updates, but then you're not having to constantly ping a server to be able to do all of these queries, that you can just get a very small data packet of, here's the latest information from the last hour or whatever, and still be able to see those. And I thought that the structure of this was great. The UI element in particular, you also took something that, a situation where things, I've seen other hackathon projects try, but we'll be disaster from this, and they kind of go for more of the tech demo-y side. But this one really showed you were thinking about the user experience of how does someone in a disaster situation interact with this data and get a quick answer from it. And I think the polish shows across the project.
Thank you. I'm really excited to see where this can go.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Adam, for sharing this.
Of course. Thank you so much for the hackathon itself.
Thank you. All right, now we have Abhishek with Epictetus.
Hi.
Sorry, I didn't mean to surprise you earlier with the random adding.
Oh. Hi, this is Abhishek Mutem. I'm an independent product developer. I develop health-related and payments-related applications for indies. And thank you for the opportunity. So, many teens and young adults are turning to online AI chatbots for friendship and emotional support. And parents, researchers, policy makers are deeply concerned about it for obvious reasons. To solve that, I created Epictetus, a 100% offline chatbot using ARM optimized model trained on the teachings of Epictetus, a Stoic philosopher who thought 2000 years ago that true freedom and happiness are found by focusing solely on what is within our power, like our judgments, intentions, and responses, while calmly accepting everything else as beyond our control. So for this, I used Gemma 3 270 million parameter model as the base model, and I fine-tuned it on the works of Epictetus. So Epictetus student has written some class notes. There are 3 books available on it, which is on public domain. So I used that to create my data set and fine tune the model on that. And so and I use MediaPipe API to power it, because ARM's Clyde AI library in XNN pack is available in MediaPipe, and so it has the optimizations for int8 and the matmul operations. And so the toughest part was to fine tune and go through a lot of trial and errors to get the model ready. But actually ARM optimization was quite easy, because the optimization is already in the MediaPipe library. So I didn't expect it to be actually this fast, 50 tokens per second. So now we can see my presentation video, which has more information.
Go ahead and pop up the video. There we go.
Yeah, I did. There was a delay for some reason.
All good. No, I'm not.
The audio is not playing.
Let's try again.
It's totally worked in rehearsal, y'all.
Yeah. All right, one more time.
Never know what's going to happen live, though.
Yep.
Okay, so maybe I can walk through it if the video is available.
Yeah.
Even with
why don't you actually? Why don't you talk us through real quick?
Sure. Like, okay.
Actually,
So
it's the I can share my screen because I have your video loaded.
okay.
Spur of the moment. So let's see if this works.
We are nothing if not resilient, right?
Yes, big thanks to all of the team at Arm that's going behind making all of this possible technically.
All right, so here we go.
Oh, I'm not getting the audio.
Okay, I can talk through this.
Yeah.
These are the news
talk over
pieces. Okay, these are the news pieces which talks about like how children are addicted to AI chatbots now for companionship. So like is it playing? Okay, so
Yeah.
we can see this. So so like here I'm just like asking its name and then like I'm telling like I'm anxious about my job interview tomorrow, and it says like of course all the answers are like how the like what are the things which I can control and the things which I cannot control. So you can see it's like the response is quite fast. It like 54 tokens per second on CPU, and it's like so like I'm running this on a Samsung Galaxy S25, and it's as if it's running on like online AI model. So like it's completely offline. And I'm asking another question about like I keep comparing myself to others on social media, which is a common thing. So like this is basically I'm just showing the different kind of responses which you might expect like to get from Epictetus, because like it's basically his work. And then like like the all day-to-day life. So I trained the model with some day-to-day questions, like life questions which people might ask to a regular chatbot. So it takes in, of course the corpus is little because like there are just 3 books, but it manages to give some very interesting answers, and that's what I'm showing in this video. So, and of course I'm asking about a chronic pain. I myself live with a rare disease, so that's one of the important things. And Epictetus himself was a disabled person, so I'm really getting some good answers regarding that, and I'm quite happy with the project overall.
Awesome. Again, thank you very much for talking through this and showing it. I think this is once again a great use case of AI, where you're taking not just this broad like, yes, you get therapy on an AI app, but you're training it on a specific data set. You're going for a specific philosophy behind it and trying to get answers within that. And so I think the hyper specificity of that project really makes this more useful in a way that we thought was worth highlighting.
It also kind of gives you an objective answer. Like you could study the philosophy, you could read all of the books, like you mentioned, that were written, and say, how should I apply this to my life? But you're still going to be influencing your own answer by your own opinions and desires. And so just having this thing where you can like ask a virtual stoic what they would actually say that's not influenced by your own desires is something that I thought was really useful and helpful.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Abhishek, for sharing your project with us. And now, next up, we have Amandine with Pocket Garden.
Yes, thank you very much. Hi, everyone. So my name is Amandine Flax, and my husband and I, we built Pocket Garden, which is a gardening companion app that relies on real-time data, tool calls, and also our custom agentic system to help support new and experienced gardeners across the world using 3 Raspberry Pis. So to give you an idea what it looks like, if we can share perfect first image, users enter their location here in the small box. And then if we can share the second image, they are offered some gardening tips. There's also a map with some useful data. I don't know if everyone can see because it's quite small, but there's some information based on your location, such as temperature, humidity, precipitation, etc. And from there, users can exchange with the companion app using natural language, asking gardening questions. So anything really, from should I water my garden this weekend to could I plant peas or whatever. And they can also upload pictures. Now, this use case enabled us to define a specific scope for the competition, but it was, let's be honest, merely an excuse for us to tinker with Edge AI. And the real highlight and focus of this project is more into the multi-agent system we built. So if we could share the third image, please. Thank you. So we have, basically today you can use large models. They are great, but they do require lots of memory. And when you think about Edge AI and Edge hardware, memory is the real constraint. So you use smaller models, but then smaller models can, ultimately the performance is less good overall. And so you need to make some trade-offs. So what we did is we actually split the problem into different parts. So we split the problem, we split the hardware and the models. So our project relies on 3 different agents that run 3 different models on 3 ARM-based Raspberry Pis. So we have a search agent that's going to generate tool calls to access real-time data from 2 different APIs. We have a vision agent that is going to deal with multimodal inputs. So when user want to upload a picture, if the plant is sick, for example, or anything really. And both the search and the vision agent, they're going to be running in parallel, and the output is going to engineer the context for the main agent. And the main agent is going to be the agent that is actually interacting with the user. So we had to test different small models and different quantization to find the right balance between speed and quality. And we had to take in consideration the specific tasks of each agent. So each agent has different roles, and thus they have different requirements, which has been central to decide which model to use. So if you take the main agent, for example, it needs to handle multi-turn interaction with users. So it requires a long context, and that's why we choose Llama 3. For the vision agent, we use Gemma 3 because, well, it supports images inputs, right? So beside the 3 agents, we also have an orchestrator that's going to call the different agents. We also have the models that are running on 3 ARM-based Raspberry Pi devices via Llama CCP servers. And we also have the map and the interface with Gradio, etc. But like I said before, the focus on gardening is really for this competition, but that could be applied, basically the same architecture, the same system can be applied to lots of different problems. And if anyone wants to try out for other problems, you can check out the video submission and the GitHub that has a bit more information.
Awesome. I really appreciate the architecture of this project. As you said, I think that's what highlighted to us as judges, this kind of like almost agentic like workflow system where you have not just thinking about the edge as the one device on the edge and then as it might connect to the cloud, but what if you have series of devices? And these, I can see how this can get expanded in the future, that you might have little Raspberry Pi devices that might have particular sensors and how they can do their own local AI analysis on there and then be able to report back their status to this orchestrator so that you can, manage a larger scale garden or, factory or workshop or some other type scenario where this kind of distributed system would be a lot more practical than trying to integrate into the cloud, or even thinking about how you could have an orchestrator have these local agents as well as maybe even one that sits on the cloud and brings their answers all into their workflow, all coming together. I like the way that this project was experimenting with that, breaking up that workflow and utilizing all of the compute that might exist in a local area.
Thanks. Yeah.
I appreciate that instead of trying to do everything with a single model, you identified that different models are good at different things and use them each for their own specific kind of niche that they can provide for you.
That was one of the things we spent quite some time on to make sure we identify the right problematics we wanted to solve with this small section, and then find the right model that works with that.
Awesome.
Thanks.
Thank you so much for showing off the project. All right, last but not least, we have the project Jackqr. And the creators of that project were unable to join us today. So I'm just going to start by showing off their video presentation talking about their project.
Okay, so I built a flashcard application and also a reading application for the ARM Arm AI Developer Challenge. And basically what this app does is it uses an on-device model to be able to parse text and flashcards for users. So basically you upload a PDF or any of your any images that you have, and what it does is that it basically uses OCR to be able to parse the entire document, on-device OCR to parse the entire document, and it then loads up the text in a very readable format for you to be able to go through. So think of students who have a lot of PDFs that are actually kind of hard to read, and so it puts it in a very digestible format, and you can see it chunks them into cards for users to be able to read. And using the on-device AI, you can then go ahead and simplify whatever it is you are reading. So it uses the on-device AI to be able to make it a lot easier to read. You can see we can try simplifying for the text it was not able to parse properly. So right now we're using the GEMA 2 billion parameter model. You can also, since my device is only 6 gigabytes of RAM, that is the best model that can work on this device. And yeah, we can also do flashcards. And what I really enjoy about this flashcard is when you load up your flashcards and when you want to review them, it basically asks you a question and then you can go ahead and answer. So what is a noun? A noun is a name of a person, animal, place, or thing. And basically when you press check answer, it uses the on-device model to check if your answer is actually close to or actually correct or not. So as you can see here, we got the answer correct because it is close to what is the correct answer on the card. So in that way, with this kind of grading, as well as the space repetition algorithm on the flashcard that we built into the flashcard part of the app, it can get an accurate understanding of how well the user really understands the questions and the answers to the flashcards. So yeah, that is basically the application I built for the ARM AI Developer Challenge. I hope you enjoyed, and yeah.
Excellent. I wanted to talk a little bit about this project as I think this is a great use case of AI's summary ability, where you can take a lot of complex information and summarize it down. And I've seen other types of flashcard generators, and they try to use like the LM of coming up with stuff. But the notion of like, we start with the source of truth, these PDF documents that so many students have so many different kinds for, you know, even if it doesn't come in a PDF, they can get the PDF version of that. And being able to toss that in, get a summary of that, simplify the summary, and then make these flashcards of it. And I also love that extra little step of letting you respond to the flashcard, not with a definitive right or wrong answer, but having the AI judge if that answer accurately reflects the summary. I think that starts adding some real value for studying, because it requires you to engage with the work, even if, you know, some edge case the AI doesn't get it right. The fact that you are studying and engaging, and like, wait, no, I think it's this. That is actually going to effectively help you study and accomplish what the goal of what these developers are trying to accomplish.
Yeah, I think that's a really great point. A lot of, you know, the time you'll get flashcard apps or something where you're presented with a list of possible answers to choose from. And that's the only way you could really guarantee that somebody's picked the right answer traditionally, but that also kind of gives them the answer that'll spur things that maybe you didn't remember. Having to answer just by like speaking your own answer really shows that you have a level of understanding of that topic and still lets the computer verify that what you said is accurate or not. So yeah, I think this is a great example of how AI can take an existing thing, an existing tool, and just elevate it and make it more useful.
Agreed.
Awesome. Well, I think that is our main projects that we wanted to show off. Thank you to all of the presenters for showing off your projects. And again, all of these projects were great. These were ones that we selected as winners, but we went through every single project, and there were so many other great projects. So if you're watching this and you were not one of the picked, don't feel like that is us saying your project wasn't great. It was just simply the competition was that great. And we really, really hope that we plan to run more challenges like this in the future. So I should start off and say that if you have feedback of what you would like to see in future challenges, please contact one of us. We try to make ourselves easily available, and we would love to hear feedback, positive, negative, because we plan to do events like this in the future. And I think it's a really great way to get people to share code and understand new and interesting ideas and things they can do with AI and things on ARM platforms. Again, all of this code is also available on GitHub. So if you saw something today that inspires you, go look at the code, go contact a developer, go build something cool and interesting and build on top of that. And now to wrap things up, let's take it back to Preeti.
You summed it up awesome, Evan. Again, not everybody can be a winner, but whoever submitted is a winner. Like, we were happy to look at every project. So thank you again. And thanks everyone for joining us today. And again, congratulations to our presenters. And big thank you for everybody who submitted on the ARM AI Developer Challenge. And thanks to DevPost, an amazing partner. It has been genuinely inspiring to see the presentations and also to see all the projects that were submitted. To see this community turn ARM-powered platforms into real practical on-device AI experiences. And we are excited to keep amplifying your work beyond today. And again, special mention to Evan, Gabe, and Michael for your time. Looking ahead, we are planning more developer initiatives this year, more webinars, more code-alongs, more spotlights, and additional regional programs to meet developers where they are and help great projects to go further. And whether you win this time or not, like Evan was saying, we would love to stay in touch. So keep sharing what you're building and let us know how we can help. So some of the call to actions: join our Discord, stay connected, join the Arm Developer Program for the tools and resources, and connect with us on LinkedIn for upcoming events and announcements. I'll drop these links in the comments. And thanks again, everyone. Have a great rest of your day. And as I always say, keep building with Arm. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Talk to you soon.